Good evening, Rayvers. Get your son a mug of cocoa, chuck another log on the fire, and tuck your sons in for a ghost story. Because the good folk over on my Patreon page put their suggestions forward for a Christmassy review, and the rotating review randomiser came back with a spine-chilling horror. The Signalman. Ooh. Yes, the Christmassy ghost story. Tradition that's gone back, decades, hundreds of years maybe. Folk obviously love having the shit scared out on them at Christmas. God knows why. Of course, it's easy to forget that A Christmas Carol, that's a ghost story, isn't it? Yeah, when Bob Marley turns up, jangling his chains. Now, as well as thespians such as Christopher Lee or Robert Powell, reading your ghost story by the fireside, the BBC had an annual series in the 70s called A Ghost Story for Christmas. I only did one a year, but I think they did it for most of the 70s. And then for whatever reason, they stopped doing it. But now they brought it back. They've got them on, I think it's on BBC 4 probably. That Mark Gatiss, he loves all that stuff.
Do the audience have any inkling that they are present at arguably the most important event in the history of the English ghost story?
I think he's the driving force behind them bringing it back. Now, the Signalman were one of the original run of the Ghost Stories for Christmas, 1976, I believe. Starring Denholm Elliott, and it's a Dickens story, Charles Dickens. And it kicks off with this chap mooching about some more. Obviously a train spotter, takes an immediate interest to the train. Definitely intrigued about him. He makes his way to the train tracks to see if he can get a view of this train and spots a chap who stood precariously close to the tracks, to my mind.
Hello! Below there!
And despite trying to beckon him, he looks like he's miles away. Denholm Elliott, the Signalman, looks like he's seen a ghost. Now, undeterred by this chap's lack of responsiveness, the traveller chap determined to pop down and have a chat with him.
Is there any path by which I may come down and speak with you?
It's a blooming train coming here, and this Signalman, he stood very close to them tracks. Far too close for comfort. He obviously didn't see the Peter Purves public information film, did he?
Hello. Now pin back your ears and listen, because I'm going to tell you a story. It's all about the railways. Did you know, every single day, over 18,000 trains use our railway system? Amazing, isn't it?
I did not know that, Peter. That's an impressive stat, that.
Now, I do a great deal of rushing around the country from place to place, and I can't think of a nicer, more comfortable way of doing that than in a really good train.
Yeah, I like a good train journey. They're relaxing, ain't they? You don't have to worry about traffic or out like that. You just chill out on a train. Couldn't chill out watching these safety films, though. They're bloody terrifying. Dino had to watch this in the Cubs. Give him bloody nightmares, it did. But it did hammer home the message, kids, don't dick about on a train track. Not even to try and find pornography. It's too dangerous. And never mind a ghost story for Christmas, this ickle girl's scream, oh, it's blood-curdling. That Signalman should bloody know better. He's an employee of the railways. He should have been made to watch it. Although, this was Victorian times, wasn't it? So it wouldn't have been Peter Purves presenting it, would it? Not even he's that old. And he wrote, having seemingly broken the Signalman's trance-like state, the traveller manages to get his son invited up to the Signalman's signal box for a cup of tea and a bicky. Now, obviously a bit of a lonely job, this Signalman work. You have to pull a few levers here and there every once in a while. But there's not a lot to keep you occupied. I mean, he's probably got a few lewd magazines stashed somewhere or something like that, but certainly not on show when he's got a visitor in there. And I get that he's probably a little bit of a Billy No-Mates, a Signalman. But we get some clever scene transitions to demonstrate the passage of time. This traveller fella's still there, he's asleep. Must have been there bloody hours. If I were the Signalman, alarm bells would be ringing big time. I'd be thinking, how am I going to get rid of this fella? Outstayed his welcome big time, this chap. But because the Signalman's not thinking that, if I were the traveller, the alarm bells would be ringing. I'd be thinking, how come the Signalman's just let me fall asleep in his signal box? What's he been doing to me while I've been asleep? I reckon at this stage of the story, there's a very good chance that both of them are murderers. But no, the signalman ain't interested in murdering. He's preoccupied by this high-pitched vibrating of this bell in his signal box.
That bell?
Yeah.
An accident on this stretch of the line must be a terrible thing.
Oh, yes, he's set the signalman off now. He started recounting gruesome stories about collisions in the tunnel. And after hearing the signalman's gruesome stories, the traveller finally buggers off. Look at it, it's pitch black. He must have been there all bloody day. But he agrees to go back the next day. He's obviously just a train nut, isn't he? He loves trains. Easy for us to forget that now. You know, trains are commonplace. We've grown up with them, ain't we? But in the mid-19th century, they're probably a lot more novel, weren't they? Probably a lot more exciting. But even so, some folk just love trains, don't they? Like Keith Chegwin on the public service information film that my daughter Maxine had to watch at Brownie's.
Did you know that we use 18,000 trains per day?
Well, it's funny you say that, Cheggers, because I learnt that from Peter Purvis earlier.
In fact, I travel around about 30,000 miles per year by train. And I can't think of a more relaxing and comfortable way of doing things.
Hold up, he's just saying the same stuff as Peter Purvis.
I do a great deal of rushing around the country from place to place, and I can't think of a nicer, more comfortable way of doing that than in a really good train.
Yeah, they're not interested in trains at all, are they, these pair? They're just reading the script. Hey, credit where credit's due. They're obviously good presenters, because I believed, both of them, that they're both that love the trains. Hey, but now think about it, though. Just watch this bit.
Than in a really good train.
Yeah, that weird thing he does with his mouth there, that's a tell, that is, that's a tell. Subconscious body language, because he feels guilty that he's talking bollocks. TV royalty like Peter Purvis doesn't travel up and down the country on a train with the rest of us minions. He uses a TARDIS, doesn't he? And once he's returned to his lodgings for the night, the traveller, he doesn't sleep well. He's turning and tossing and dreaming about that vibrating bell and a mysterious red light, which are linked to the train tunnel. But despite a poor night's skip, he returns the next day to visit his new busy mate, the signalman, again. And the signalman reveals that the vibrating bell and the accompanying red tunnel light signifies the appearance of a ghostly apparition who turns up immediately prior to horrible disaster happening. And the poor old signalman is haunted by this spectre because he knows there's going to be an imminent calamity and he's powerless to do out about it. Now, there's something about these 1970s BBC ghost story things that I love it. Something about the atmosphere. They're very understated as well. There's no flashy special effects or flashy camera work, really. And the soundtrack's always pretty sparse and all. But instead there'll be moody lighting and fog and it'll create a creepy atmosphere. They were cracking a BBC adaptation of Dracula in the 70s. And that was the same. I think it's probably my favourite adaptation of Dracula. Not least because it's one of the few where they actually go to Whitby. Any excuse to have a look at Whitby. Love Whitby. But yeah, very atmospheric. And Louis Jordan is Dracula. He gives a very sinister performance.
Cut!
Well, I wouldn't go that far. And obviously the acting in the Signalman's very good. You know, you always get your money's worth with Dan O'Malley, don't you? But this other bloke, he's good and all. You know, both of them had a bit of gravitas to the thing. Although, I'll be honest, I were a little bit disappointed with the names. You know, this is a Dickens story. And Dickens is famous for his great character names, isn't he? But these two, they're called the Signalman and the Traveller. I was expecting one of them to be called Jedediah Jizzywinkel or Nathaniel Nipplewick, something like that. So, yeah, I were disappointed with that, to be honest with you. But that minor quibble aside, if you're after a spooky, Christmassy ghost story, you can do a lot worse than digging out some of these 1970s ones from the Beeb. Very good. Okeydoo, on to Ray's ratings. Well, yeah, it's a ghost story, and as some of you will know by now, I do get the willies quite easily. But I do like watching these old ones, these sort of Victorian M.R. James things. I'm a bit of a masochist in that regard. So I were hoping for a 3-star film. And, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. It's only about half hour, 40 minutes, something like that. But I just love the atmosphere in these 1970s things. I think they're great. And whilst it was creepy, it didn't give me the willies too much. So, yeah, that's a bonus for me, to be honest with you. So, I'm rating The Signalman a 3.5 star, 3-star film. or programme, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Okeydoo, enough of the spookiness. Need to lighten it up a bit. I want you lot to sleep soundly in your beds tonight. So we're going to finish off with an ickle quiz. We're going to play Carry On Dickens. Yes, I'm going to give you a list of character names, and you've got to correctly guess. Are they a character that was created by arguably the greatest novelist of the Victorian era, or are they a character that featured in arguably the greatest film franchise of the 20th century? Okeydoo, let's start with an easy one. Right, first up, Master Bates. Come on, we're better than that. Yeah, was he in a Dickens novel, or was he in a Carry On film? You got till the time runs out to lock in your guess. Dickens, he was in Oliver Twist. Master Bates, not Captain Pugwash. That's apocryphal, I believe is the term. Next up, Simon Tappertit. Simon Tappertit. Sounds like he's ready to commit a sex offence, doesn't it? Right, start the timer. What's it going to be? Dickens again! In Barnaby Rudge. I don't know that one. But yeah, Simon Tappertit. Inigo Tinko. Inigo Tinko. Off we go. Inigo Tinko. Carry On Doctor. I think it was Kenneth Williams played Inigo Tinko. Jimmy Nookie. Jimmy Nookie. Start the clock. Jimmy Nookie. What was Jimmy Nookie in? Carry On Again, Doctor. Another Carry On one there, Jimmy Nookie. Could have been a Dickens character, couldn't he? Ickle Jimmy Nookie, but no. Pleasant Riderhood. Pleasant Riderhood sounds like a Bond girl, really, doesn't it? Pleasant Riderhood. What are we thinking? Dickens. Our mutual friend, Dickens. Could have been Barbara Windsor playing Pleasant Riderhood, couldn't it, to be honest? So, you know, if you'd have got that wrong, I'd probably have joined you. Mrs. Todgers! Mrs. Todgers! What a great name, Mrs. Todgers. Now, what were Mrs. Todgers in? Martin Chuzzlewit! Martin Chuzzlewit, Dickens again. Eustace Tuttle. Eustace Tuttle. What are we saying? Eustace Tuttle. Carry On Abroad. Carry On Abroad. Sounded like a Dickens name, didn't it? But no. Wackford Squares. Wackford Squares. Bloody hell. Where's Wackford Squares from? Nicholas Nickleby. Nicholas Nickleby. Obviously another Dickens one. Gladstone Screwer. Gladstone Screwer. What was he in, Gladstone Screwer? He was in Carry On Again, Doctor. Another Carry On film. Sir James, I think, Gladstone Screwer. Last up, Dick Swiveller. Dick Swiveller. It's my favourite one, I think, Dick Swiveller. But what was he in? The Old Curiosity Shop. Dickens, The Old Curiosity Shop. Dick Swiveller. One of the most respected authors, arguably of all time. Dick Swiveller. Unbelievable. Well, I hope you enjoyed my review of the Signalman Rayvers. And if you did, poke the old like button for me. Give it a good old poke. Maybe poke it with your brolly, like the Traveller, if you've got a big long brolly. And remember to share our reviews with your mates. And subscribe to the channel if you ain't already a subscriber. Much appreciated. And how did you do on the quiz? Well, if you got 10 out of 10, give yourself a big pat on the back for your knowledge of both Dickens and Carry On films. Can't be many people in the middle of that Venn diagram, can there? But you'd be one of them if you got all 10. Well done. Now, as we're coming up to Christmas, race night is building up to a crescendo, peaking with the Boxing Day Bonanza, the grand final. All that action is on my sister channel. I'll pop a link in description below. But before that, I'm going to be back with a Boxing Day Bond. I'm going to be back with Moonraker, copyright box permitting, so that'll be with you lot on Boxing Day. So if I don't see you at race night, have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for all your wonderful support across the year. Have a lovely time, overindulge, and we can all veg out on Boxing Day and watch a bit of Moonraker, can't we? Yeah. So I will see you then. Okeydoo!